So there I am at youth camp, bright red, fuming. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. To be honest, it wasn't the first time at youth camp that this youth pastor was angry. But this took the cake. It was a pillow fight. People were just beating the crap out of each other with pillows. People were crying. People were upset. People were falling down. And the crowd all around is chanting, "Kill, kill, kill." And I'm sitting there wondering, what the hell is going on? How did we get here? Hi, this is Rev. This is Sunday Stories, where I tell a story every Sunday, or one of my friends tells a story, hopefully soon. And thanks for stopping by. I hope you'll press the like button, press the follow button, and hey, go in the comments and tell me what a jerk I am. I like that. So let me tell you what happened. It started quite a while back when we had the district youth meeting. So all the youth pastors were there, and the district youth leader was there, and we're discussing what is going to happen at the following summer camp. And of course, I'm there. I don't have a lot to say. They didn't really trust me very much, and they come to the, what are we going to do for the nighttime activities? I said, well, me and Raquel can handle those if you want. They eye me suspiciously. What are you up to? What are you going to do, John? Well, I have this idea. I think it'd be really fun. We could do theme nights, and we can do different activities and whatnot, and we can tell the kids in advance so they can bring clothes to dress up in. Well, John, what kind of activities? They still don't trust me. And I said, well, like we could do disco night or beach party or maybe hip hop night. You know, we can just come up with these themes and tell the kids beforehand so they can bring clothes and dress up, and we'll just play volleyball and limbo on the beach night. We could have a disco dance contest, and we could just maybe a punk rock day, whatever you guys want. We can just do that. And so they actually thought it was a good idea. I was surprised. And so we planned that we were going to go ahead and do the theme nights, and I was going to be in charge. So we went ahead and planned that we were going to do the theme nights, and I was going to be in charge. My first real responsibility at camp, And so we planned it, and things seemed like they were going pretty well, For those of you who don't know what a Christian youth camp is, look, I'm kind of sorry I participated in these in some ways, but a lot of cool things happen too. So it's kind of good and bad, but basically what it is it's brainwashing technique. They take a bunch of kids, they get them away from their home, away from the people that are a part of their lives, away from their culture. They go way up into the mountains or at the beach or somewhere, and then they don't let them sleep. They stay up all the time, and they are doing activity after activity after activity. They're sleep deprived, they're tired, and then propaganda. Now, some people call it preaching, but the way it happens at youth camps is kind of propaganda. They're just brainwashing these kids, song after song after song, and Jesus is my boyfriend, whatnot. And the messages are just nonstop. They go to church at night, they go to church in the morning, they have little talks throughout the day. It's constant barrage of Christian thought, Christian imagery, and it's brainwashing. That's what it is. And well, we went every year we went. And the funny thing is every single time at least at my denomination's camp, they had the same messages, right? The first message was, hey, you need to get saved. Or maybe you need to rededicate your life to the Lord. In fact, we'll do both of those so that we'll make sure that when we do the altar call, come up if you want to receive Jesus. Come up if you want to rededicate your life to Jesus. We always wanted a nice full altar call. That was night one. In the morning, I don't know, we'd do something. But then night two was always, you've got to stop sinning. God hates sin. Rock and roll is the devil. Don't go out with non-Christians. Don't cuss. Burn all your records. Just, don't participate in culture because Christians are different. And then they do an altar call for people that need to say they're sorry to God for all the horrible things they were up to, particularly, don't have sex. That's a big one, right? Don't have sex. In fact, don't even kiss another person, because that might make you think of sex, right? We can't have no sex. That's wrong. Okay, so that's what we're teaching them on night two. Night three in my denomination was always receive the Holy Spirit. And what that meant, in my denomination, was another altar call, and the camp speaker and all the youth pastors, they lay hands on the kids and they pray for them to receive the Holy Spirit. And unless they started speaking in tongues, they hadn't received the Holy Spirit yet. So we'd keep praying, and it was just get them saved, get them to renounce sin, get them baptized in the Holy Spirit. And then the last morning was always, your friends are going to hell if they don't know Jesus. And if you don't tell them about Jesus and they go to hell, it'll be your fault. Yeah, I always debriefed with my kids afterwards. That's just crap, okay? But that happened. It was the same time. Every message is the same. Every youth camp, it's the same. And this one was starting off the same way, right? Get saved, rededicate your life to the Lord, altar call. But you know what? Not that many kids went up. The camp speaker, who I gotta be honest with you, man, I just thought, what are they bringing this guy out for? He was in the national office. He was the head of church growth and church planting or church starting, and he showed up, and he's wearing Dockers and a button-up shirt, and he had a little short, perfect haircut with the completely shaved face, and I was just like, why are we inviting this guy to speak to kids? What? But he's actually, he was a good speaker, and he did his thing, and hardly any kids came up. And he asked me later, he's like, hey, John, tell me what happened tonight. And I said, what do you mean? Well, there wasn't much response. And I said, Tom, you know what? Most kids that aren't Christians aren't going to spend $500 to go somewhere and go to church twice a day. That's just not what non-Christian kids want to do. In fact, most of the Christian kids don't want to do that. So when you say, if you want to receive Jesus, every single one of my kids already received Jesus. They're already a Christian. They didn't have anything to dedicate themselves to. He kind of shook his head. Then we went to disco night. And I got to tell you, man, it was awesome. And by awesome, I mean it was ridiculously hilarious. You got all these kids that have never even seen disco. They weren't alive when disco happened, and they're wearing polyester suits and they're dancing. They're I don't know, man. It was crazy, and we've got the Bee Gees and Gloria Gaynor and all this crazy music playing, and they had a disco dance contest, and it was so much fun. We just had a blast, snacks and partying and having a good time, and it went really, really well. Everyone was happy. Day two. I'm sure day two was fun. I don't remember any of it except getting to know the camp speaker, and his name's Tom Clegg, and we connected, man. We became like tight friends, and we still are. 35 years later, we're still friends. He's still a mentor of mine. He's taught me so much, and I just love him. Tom, if you listen to this, I love you, brother. But we became really good friends. But that's really all I remember about the day. And then church starts. And the worship team's up there. And the cool thing about camp is they always had a really good worship band. And they're playing and the kids are feeling it. And because you hype them up and you get it, they're just in, their hands are up and they're praying. And so the band thinks, hey, things are going good. So they just kept playing and they went long. And then Tom got up and he did his message, which he had already had planned out. Like I said, he's a great speaker. And then, they did the altar call and everything happened. And by the end of it, it was just late, man, that there wasn't much time. So said, let's just, it's the beach party. Let's just go ahead and we'll play volleyball and have some snacks and do limbo and we'll just put on some surfy music over in the corner so people can sit around and talk and we won't worry about any activities that are planned and so we did that. And I got to tell you, it was lots of fun. The kids had a blast. We were listening to the Ziggins, which is a kind of real positive, upbeat surf punk kind of thing, and yeah, it was fun. And then, as the kids were going back to their cabin, I see this powwow of youth pastors. Now, I got to be honest. I'm kind of used to not being invited to youth pastor powwows because, like I said, they didn't trust me. And all of a sudden, one of the other youth pastors comes up to me and says, John, they want to talk to you about tonight. Oh my gosh, what happened? Did one of the kids go out and smoking in the bushes or maybe, I don't know, maybe someone had drugs, or maybe some of the kids went out and hid in the bushes and made out. I mean, hopefully that didn't happen. And I get over there, and as I'm getting close to the group, I hear them talking about the moshing, the slam dancing. Well, it was silly. We were listening to this kind of surfy, punky music, and my kids were grooving around all kind of cool, and some of the kids from the other youth groups started, moshing. If you don't know what that is, you run in a circle and bump into each other, and it was playful. It was fun. There wasn't any violence at all. It was just a blast. And they're talking about this. This is a problem, and I walk up and I was like, so what's going on? Well, we're just really not comfortable with this moshing. I'm like, wait a minute here. We're not supposed to judge culture. That's not what we're here to do. We can promote morality, we can talk about faith, we can talk about religion, but who are we to judge somebody else's culture? The culture that we live in was judged by the generation before us. What are you talking about? And then the district youth leader, Reggie, says, Well, I just feel in my spirit that this is not right. And I was just like, you know what? That's bullshit. What? A youth pastor said a bad word? They're all looking at me shocked. Of course, I'm going to hell now because I said bullshit. It's crazy. And he looks at me. He's like, well, I don't understand, John. I was like, do you know what you just said? Well, I just said that you just told me that God told you that this was wrong. Well, that's not what I said. Well, what else does it mean? The Spirit of God showed me in my heart that it was wrong. You just said that God said it was wrong. And that's bullshit. Well, I didn't mean to say it that way. I was like, yeah, but that's what you said. And we can't keep doing this. You don't like it. Okay, you don't have to like it. The kids obviously liked it. I didn't tell them that their kids from their youth groups were the only ones that were moshing because I didn't want to rub salt in the wounds, but it was kind of ridiculous. And as we're talking about this whole thing, the camp speaker is standing just 20 feet away. He's from the national office. He's an expert on church growth. They call him over, right? No. They just acted like he wasn't even there. They're upset. And I say, guys, yesterday we had disco night. Disco was the most sexually permissive and debauched scene that America had ever seen. It was all about going out and having sex. The dancing was all about sex. And you had no problem with that. But here, on this night, a couple of kids started doing a dance that is the least sexual dance of all time. And you got a problem with that? I heard one of the youth pastors say, he's kind of got a point there. It was ridiculous to me. I didn't understand it. And so the district youth leader looks at me and says, John, I'm not comfortable with it, and you need to tell your kids that there's no more moshing at camp. And I said, no. And everyone's like, oh. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. Well, what do you mean you're not going to do that? Look, I'm not going to be intellectually dishonest with my kids and tell them they're not allowed to do something. When the night before we did something that was 10 times worse. And I'm not going to tell my kids that I was bullied into making this decision, even though I didn't agree with it. That's intellectually dishonest, and I'm not going to do it. If you want to say no dancing for the rest of the night, for the rest of the camp, you want to say no dancing, period, okay, I'll tell my kids that. But I'm not going to tell them that this dancing's okay and this dancing's wrong. I'm not going to do it. And they said, well, okay, I guess it's no dancing for the rest of the camp. I said, okay, fine, I'll tell my kids that. But you got a problem. Tomorrow is hip hop night, and we're having a breakdancing contest. No dancing means no hip hop night, and you guys are going to have to figure out what to do because I'm not going to do it. Okay, all right, we'll take care of it. I'm not happy, but whatever. You guys do your thing. My kids do their own thing anyways, and they're not even here for the camp. They're here to just be with the other kids, you know. We drilled it into our youth group. You're not going to camp to just have fun. There's going to be people at camp that are hurting, that are struggling, maybe don't have friends. just go there and be a friend to people. That's what we want you to do. We want you to get involved in people's lives and be someone who shows love to them. And my kids were doing that. They're really good. I was really proud of my kids. But this other stuff, it's not my thing. You guys want to do something else, you take care of it. I'm done. And yeah. So the next night, they decide that they're going to have a pillow fight. Tell the kids after church to go back to their cabins and come to the main auditorium with their pillows. Yeah. So they had pillow fights. This youth group against that youth group. The junior high kids against the senior high kids. The girls against the boys. And yeah, that one was not too... I didn't like that one at all. And during the course of this, kids would fall down and bump their head. Other kids would trip and fall into someone else's legs, and there were ankles that were hurt. All kinds of stuff was going on, and there were all these kids that were hurt, and some of them were scared. And there was these beautiful camp counselors that had the kids aside, and they were tending to their wounds. And probably the most Christian thing that happened at this camp, they're caring for kids. And I'm watching this, and I can't believe what's going on. And then the big climax, they decided to do kids against camp counselors and youth pastors. Yeah, that went nuts. People all standing around in a big circle and chanting, kill, kill, kill. It was like a gladiators thing or something like that. You know, it was really disturbing. Of course, like 90% of the girls didn't participate, and probably 50% of the junior high boys and the smaller boys, they didn't participate, and I'm sure not going to participate. And they've got this thing going on, and boom, hitting each other with pillows and kill, 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 and gladiator stuff going on. I'm just thinking, yeah, I'm sure that Jesus, the Prince of Peace, is really happy that these kids are beating the hell out of each other instead of dancing. Come on, man. This is ridiculous. And then one of the big athletic camp counselors hit one of the kids really hard with the pillow. He hit him hard. I don't know exactly what happened, but he fell, and I don't know if it was the blow that knocked him out or if he bumped his head when he landed. All I know is there's an unconscious kid laying on the ground, and everything stopped. And all the people run into him. People got there before I did, and they're tending to him, making sure he's okay. When he's awake and he's been awake for a while, they make sure all his parts are working, and they stand him up and they walk him to the nurse's station. And I look at the district youth leader and I say, is this better? Is this better than the kids having fun dancing? This was disgusting. I walked away. I tell you, I think we went to one camp after that and we never went back. It was really disturbing. When I look back at these days, there's a lot of things that we did because that's just what we did. That's what the church did. The goal was to make sure that these kids are Christians. These kids are good. They're not misbehaving. Now, when I look back at it, I realize that we were trying to train these kids to grow up and be good citizens, to do what they're told, to listen to the authorities, to make sure that everything was okay, because that's what we're going for. I gotta admit, I'm kind of ashamed that I took part in that system, but I did. And this was part of the process of me growing away from, well, not all of the things, but a lot of the things that the traditional church was doing. So maybe we need to take a deeper look at the things we're doing. Now, just because we've always done something doesn't mean we should keep doing it. People in history have done a lot of very, very bad things because, well, that's just the way we've always done it. Let's not do it the way we've always done it, because the way we've always done it has sure created a lot of problems. Maybe we need to think of a new way to do it. Anyways, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Hope you enjoyed it, and please just push that share button, push that like button, sign up to get notifications of the next time we come. And if you want to come back tomorrow, I'll be continuing my Bible study in the Gospel of Matthew, where we talk about what does this gospel mean to the marginalized communities that were in existence when the story of Jesus is told. I think it's an interesting take, and you may be interested in that. So if you're around tomorrow, or they're recorded, you can listen to it whenever you want, but Mondays in Matthew is released on Monday nights. And so hope you'll join us, and thanks again for listening. And please remember that Rev loves you, and he doesn't want you to get hit in the head with a pillow. Have a nice day.